I was really very inspired. I want to talk about Amanda's poem, A Hill We Climb. She really inspired me by that poem. And I want to give my reaction to the poem because she said some very deep things that continue to marvel me. There were a lot of similes, metaphors, alliterations, and more importantly, there was something about that poem that had life inside of it, that had God inside of it. And Amanda opened up with, can there be light? She asked the question, can there be light in this unending shade? And she answered that question by saying, there can be light only if you're brave enough to see it, only if you're brave enough to be it. And I think a lot of people were touched by that poem. And the moment, she didn't find that moment, the moment found her. She didn't own that moment, the moment owned her. And everything that walked in her life brought her to that point when she won the national laureate in Los Angeles, to the point where Dr. Biden saw her talent and they didn't see any other thing as she saw the color of her voice. She saw the color of her poem, not the color of her skin. I'm sure if she had seen the color of her skin, she wouldn't probably have brought her to that stage. And I think Dr. Biden wanted to make the inauguration colorful with that beautiful poem. And thank God she only saw the color of her poem. And a skinny little black girl moved the whole world with her voice, her poem, her diction. Even though she says she was born with an impediment, but that impediment was the reason why she has that voice, that poem. And having been a Nobel laureate at the time and having owned a moment like Amanda's, I have something to say and maybe a word of advice that she, Amanda, you're going to be tested. The poem is going to test you. And Amanda's used to, I think she was, Amanda's poem reflects a deep relationship she has with her maker, because the Bible says in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God Himself. And the Bible says, and that Word was that light. And God is that light. There are three things that God is: God is light, God is love, and God is the Spirit. And Amanda says there's light. That means there's God. I think God wanted to use her voice to change a generation. And she was created for that purpose. And that's why that voice is there. God understood that that was her destiny. And everything around her, to the picking of that yellow dress and everything, all the moments she had was to bring her to that point at the inauguration. Dr. Biden even discovering her was to bring her to that. And it could just be that Biden winning the election was for Amanda to get to that point where she would deliver that poem. But Amanda, you'll be tested. I was in that position before when I won the LNG prize with my PhD advisor, the Esther C, at 32 years old, where a young PhD graduate with winning the award-winning prize for the um, Nigerian National Science Prize, and sponsored by the LNG, that had the class of a Nobel laureate, a Nobel Prize for Africa. And I didn't know it. My whole world changed, and I became a celebrity, and I began to have all these interviews. Amanda enjoyed the moment. But I tell you, a lot of people are not happy with that voice that you have, with that poem that you have delivered. And they are going to test you. Even those that even brought you to that point, they will realize that they have made a mistake, and they may want to test you because they were supposed to own that moment, but you own it for them. And they may not even realize what has happened, but as you begin to get into the spotlight, as they begin to talk about your dreams, how you want to become president, how you want to do this, you're going to be racially profiled. They're going to take that poem out of your voice and they will try to put it maybe in a white skin because it can fit in here. But I tell you the truth, you own the poem because God wanted you to own it. That's why you had to do it at the inauguration. And that's why 10 million people heard that voice. So they are your witnesses that you own that poem. You don't even need a patent. It's yours. And the poem will last 100 generations. If we're still on this earth, it will outlive you, Amanda. Children are going to be born in maybe another 100 or 500 years and they're going to continue to sing your poem. They're going to continue to talk about you. But you'll be tested. And I want to encourage you that you have a lot of friends as much as you have a lot of enemies that you have created with that poem. And when you begin to realize that everything about that moment was just between you and God and the people that God has assigned to you, you realize that it's better to keep those dreams in your heart. As a piece of advice, only share it with yourself and your Creator so that you don't alienate others who could be a stepping stone for you. Stop talking about those dreams to people, everybody. Talk to people because you don't know who is your friend and who is your enemy, who is jealous, who wants to pull you down. Silence cannot be misquoted. So if you don't talk about it in a way that infuriates people, I know you have to share your excitement and your dream is what gives you the energy, but also that the thing that gives you the energy is also the thing that will try and pull you down because your poem will test you. Every word you have spoken, every line you have rehearsed, everything you have delivered in that poem would come back and test you in a way that you may even wonder. But don't give up. Because as much as you have made a lot of enemies, you have also made a lot of friends. I'm one of them. So Amanda, I give you a thumbs up. You did a very good job about that poem. You delivered it in the way that everybody can hear and listen and understand. People are playing pianos on your poem. People are playing guitars on your poem. You're having commentaries. Even universities, professors are all using your poem to talk their analysis around your poem. You're the star of the moment, but God owns that moment. Always recognize that the light owns you. The light found you. The light found that moment for you because before you were created, it was destined to happen that way. So let us listen to your one